give you another example of why it's a good idea to not judge circumstances or people. The most beautiful, lasting, miracle gift that I ever received in my life was when I was in a situation where something happened and I just realized this is way over my pay scale. I can't choose whether this is good or bad. One of my children was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. It kind of rolls you, you know? And there were prayer groups, because I've got all these Catholics, all these Baptists, there's prayer groups all over the world praying that my son would be healed. I don't think I'm a bad mother when I say, I never made that prayer. I never prayed that he would get well. I just didn't feel it was my choice. Something was happening. This came into my life. And I chose to look at it and say, I don't know what this is about. Would I have asked it? You know, I had people who say to me, you're so brave. I said, wait a minute, if God had said, how about I give one of your kids a tumor? I would have said no. But it was there, and I had to be with it. I couldn't go into denial. I couldn't pretend it wasn't going to happen. Getting angry, I never once got angry. I hear about people talking about getting angry at something like that. It never made me mad. I just was curious. What's that about? My prayer became, dear God, please help me understand this as your will. I don't understand it. Help me. I let go of it. And I let go of it, I realize now, without judging it as being bad. I guess maybe I just believed that God wouldn't possibly do anything that awful to me. But I didn't understand it. And not long after, I decided that it wasn't my job to judge that experience. The neurosurgeon drove to my house on Memorial Day, which is why I'm reminded of this. Memorial Day, the neurosurgeon drives his car to my house, gets out of the car, grabs me, swings me around. I was much later then. He was much younger then. And said to me, it's gone. I said, what do you mean it's gone? He said, the last CAT scan, it's gone. He said, I have been a neurosurgeon for 35 years and I don't bandy about the word miracle, but that's what you got. And that's it right there. I said yes to the experience without judgment. Now, do I believe that that happens for everybody if you let go? It's happened in my life a lot more often than you can imagine. 3 years later, his younger brother, I get a call. Don's had a spell. Like, what do you mean a spell? I get to the junior high, and his lips are blue, and he's white as a sheet, and he said, well, I just had one of my headaches. I've just been through this with him. His only symptom was headaches until I got a graphic lesson in what projectile vomiting looks like in the ophthalmologist's office. Once again, I've got this situation. And they're telling me this is not, you know, the odds that this is a tumor is really, really, you know. And once again, I said, what the hell? You know, once wasn't enough. Took him to the doctor. He had a seizure disorder. He's now fine, really fine. Has a pilot's license, and any of you that fly know you have to be fine before they'll give you a pilot's license. Every time something like that has come into my life, I have tried to step back from judging it as, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. Yeah, actually, no, it's not. You know, the whole family could be wiped out. We could all, you know, hate each other. That would be worse. I really believe. It's only real when you say it is. It's only a disaster when you label it a disaster. Someone else is only evil when you say they are. And if you see someone doing something that you see as being absolutely against every principle that you hold, I guarantee you, they did not get up that morning and go down the street saying, okay, I'm going to be evil today. They believe they're coming from their own truth. It's not our job to judge. Because the moment we do, we stop learning. If we judge this and say this is evil, then we treat it like evil. Then we feed evil. We make it evil. We put energy into it that supports evil. When we look at something we can't be with, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a driver, whether it's somebody else's kids in the grocery store, which that's always a toughie for me. I have to go through that part that says, my kids never. One of the best parenting rules I ever got was from my grandmother, who said, don't ever say, my kids will never, because before it's out of your mouth, they're doing it. You create that. The other thing about not judging is that you learn so much. When you see something on TV and somebody's blaring about something that you just know in your heart is wrong, if you listen and try and figure out, how did that person get to that place? How much pain does someone have to be in before they kill somebody else? How desperate does someone have to be before they rob a bank? Every one of those people that you cannot be with came here with the same purpose. They came here to be love. And somewhere along the line, they got lost. Judging them doesn't help them. And you're here to be love, and you're here to help each other. Loving them. You being love is like holding up the beacon to what they're trying to find. That does not mean that you have to invite them to lunch, have your kids marry them, buy them a house. You can be at choice about what you do in your life and who you associate with. But there is so much more available to you when you choose to not judge. I'm a life coach. One of the things I know is that it saved my life because I am also. I'm Lynda, and I'm a recovering caretaker. I'm Lynda, and I'm a recovering victim. One of the things I can't be with is victims. Why? Because it's just like an alcoholic. If I'm around somebody who's a victim, pretty soon I'm buying that story. And if you buy the story, you have to buy the ending. What I have to do when I'm around a victim, they're in their own drama. They're acting out their drama. And they absolutely believe it. They're method actors. They totally believe that they are victims. I have to stay off the stage with them. Because if I get on the stage and get in the story, I have to play my part. I had a graphic experience of this just last week, so I know I'm not totally cured. It's really important that you don't judge yourself, that you don't judge other people, but you're aware of where your buttons are and who pushes them. And if you stop judging, then you recognize, oh, that's a button. I spent, about a half an hour sobbing and crying before I went, oh, wait a minute. I did this for 25 years, and as I recall, it really sucked then too. And it's not productive. So I found my salvation in coaching, because coaching teaches me that you are all creative, resourceful, and whole. And my job is to remind you of that. When my son was ill, after they said, we don't know what happened, but, well, he's not going to die now. Yeah, thanks. I went and looked in the mirror every single morning and said, all of my friends and all of my family are powerful spiritual beings. They can change their lives whenever they choose. And that is the prayer that I would give you when you run into somebody that you can't deal with. Because you are really judging yourself when you're judging them. Because what you're saying is, I'm not strong enough, I'm not big enough, I'm still a victim, I'm still caretaker, I can't come from love for that person. So when that happens, when that person shows up, the first thing you want to say is, thank you for giving me another opportunity to come from the loving place that I know is the place I came from. Every person that comes into your life gives you an opportunity to choose love. If it's a cute little kid, that's really great. If it's somebody that is in some situation that you can't stand, or has totally opposite views than you do, and is judging you, the first thing you want to do is take a deep breath and say, thank you for this opportunity to learn. My daughter insists that's what's going to be on my tombstone. I wonder what the lesson was. She also went through an experience one time where she was absolutely hideously upset about something. And she was 13, 14, that's what they do, And she swung around and she pointed her finger at me and she says, and I don't care what the lesson is. Which was true, she didn't. So what I invite you to do, what I really encourage you to do, is to really look at where in your life would your load be a lot lighter if you just said, oh, that's where they're at. That's who they are. You never know what that person is thinking. When we see somebody doing something, for example, kids running through, I'll take my own thing, kids running through the supermarket. And I right away go to assuming that the parents aren't good parents, that these kids are wildly indulged, that they probably have way more money than they need, and these kids are given everything, and they don't eat healthy meals, and God will get you every time. I just spent 10 days in Pennsylvania with my grandson who has Asperger's. I took him to the store. I wasn't judging him. I was judging the people who were judging him. Until I realized, thank you for this opportunity to realize. Now when I see somebody in the grocery store and their kids are running amok, I love that word, amok. I used to have a sign that said, my cup runneth amok. When I see them with their kids running amok, I start thinking, wow, I wonder what's going on. I wonder what they're dealing with. And I know that somebody who loves those kids more than any of us could is watching over them, and they're going to be fine. Because someone who loved my child even more than I did watched over him, and it was fine. So I invite you to give yourself the gift of opening up to be with what is in your life and learn from it. The minute you judge something, this is good, this is bad, you close the door. Who knows what parts they play? Every person that shows up in your life, every moment of your life, is meant to be there. You're meant to hear this. I'm meant to say it. And I guarantee you're all going to go out of here and you're going to run into somebody who's going to just tick you off. Try to remember. Try to remember. I'm the only person, I think, who was almost attacked after 9/11 because of my reaction. I was in a leadership program, and it was a coach's program, leadership program, and the program was 4 one-week retreats to California over the course of a year. As it happened, it fell with the equinox and the solstice. So I was always in the redwoods in California at those seminal times. September 21st, 2001, 9/11, I was here, but I was also on the first plane that flew out of here after the towers fell. And when I got out there, the group all came together, and we were sitting in a circle, and the very opening ceremony, the director, the leader, said, well, the first thing we have to do is acknowledge what's happened in New York. And so we want to put into the circle that something terrible happened. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. And everybody looked at me, and I said, I can't do that. Well, are you saying that, I'm saying that something happened. We don't know whether it was a disaster, a catastrophe. How we respond to it will make it what it is. And I choose not to believe that almost 3,000 souls chose to be in that place at that time so that we could have a catastrophe. They chose on a soul level to be in that place at that time because every one of us chooses. Every one of you on a soul level chose to be here today, and you chose to go where you're going afterwards. Those people chose to be there. I chose to believe they did not do that to create a catastrophe. I choose to believe they did it to teach us. And what we've learned from there, I'm kind of disappointed in. But it was only a disaster if we said it was. Something happened. That's what I will leave you with, the idea that things happen in your life. You respond to them. Don't react. Stop and respond. And the way you do that is by stopping and getting curious. What just happened? What was that? Wonder and curiosity and learning. And from that place, you move into love.
you.